Chapter 16. 2 days pass. The highway is their home, and plans are made. Rose of Sharon plans to live in town. Ma doesn't want the family to split, but she worries that it will happen. When the truck breaks down, Tom and Casey offer to stay. Instead, Al and Tom go get a part. Once the truck is fixed, they reach a camp, where the man tells them his story. He tells them how there is no work, and how he lost his family. He says he's on his way back to die among the people who care about him. But they think that life will be different for them.
Chapter 17. One Big Family. Thousands of people in thousands of cars go to the camps. People from all different places join other families, and each family is made up of 20 different families. In these government-run camps, people make their own rules, and the people are happy there. Chapter 18. California. West they move through New Mexico, past the pinnacles and the pyramids, into the high country of Arizona. Looking across the vast desert, the Jodes are stopped by a border guard. Questions are asked, and they are on their way. Water becomes scarce and the sun too hot. The family moves at night, with only $40 left. They try and survive and keep moving on. One day the men sat in the water, and the youngest of them all wishes to stay. Noah and Pa talk to some men who come from California. They tell their stories and then call them Okies, and Noah stays behind. But the rest keeps moving, and Grandma feels sick, until they finally reach the border. They are stopped by border control, but hurried along because of Grandma. Once they cross, they see the beautiful green plains of the valley, and Ma reveals that Grandma is dead, and she shall rest in California.
Chapter 19. The Past. Once upon a time, California belonged to Mexico. But when they were weak, it was taken from them by people who wanted money. Now the descendants of these people stand to fight against the Okies, who they try and run out. But all the Okies want are decent wages and a place to call home.
Chapter 20. Goodbye and Farewell. With no money and Grandma dead, they cannot bury, and they leave her with the coroner's office. They go to a camp that is called Hooverville, and meet a man named Floyd. When a man comes to offer them work, they question him and demand a contract, and Floyd gets in trouble. He throws a punch and runs away fast. Tom trips the cop and Casey kicks him. Unconscious with all this commotion, Connie leaves, abandoning his wife and kid. At the end they must leave when camp is set to burn. Chapter 21. Binding Emotions. Hostility was the key to bring the people together. The people that already lived there are now terrified of the spark in their eyes. Locals are armed, deputies appointed. To run the Okies out, people are ruthless. Many cannot feed themselves, and money is gone. But the migrant works stay together.
Chapter 22. A New Start. Driving around to find a place to stay, the Jodes come across the Weed Patch Camp. It's a government-run camp that runs itself. No police or officers to be found. The camp runs smoothly, safe and sound. With appointed committees, keep it clean. Ma likes it there. The kids think there is much to see. Toilets and showers come with your spot, $1 a week, or you work it off. The men find work with no time to spare. They get meat for dinner that fills them up. Enjoying their time, the family stays in a place that makes them happy. While they work, the men hear news about a planned riot at the next dance. The men who hired them think they are kind. He warns them about what some people will do to earn a buck and get police through. Back at the camp, a woman appears and speaks to Rose of Sharon, the woman who warned her to not dance the clutch and hug. For if she does, she shall be cursed, and her baby shall die. But the rest of the people told her the truth, and said that no such thing shall happen, and the family lived on in peace and harmony.
Chapter 23. Free Time. When the people are not working or looking for work, they make musicals and tell folk tales. If they have the money, they buy alcohol, and all just to find salvation that they desperately seek. The migrant workers are all sad inside, but these small little actions can make even the saddest people act happy. Chapter 24. Trouble at the Dance. It is the night of the dance. 20 men are hired to look out for instigators and stop the riot from starting. Soon Tom sees 3 men that wish to start trouble. One tries to start a fight by dancing with another's date, but are quickly stopped and taken outside, and the dance goes on with no problem.
Chapter 25. The Grapes of Wrath. Spring is beautiful in California, but small farms are ruined by the giants, who monopolize the industry. Unable to compete, small farms watch their crops wither and die, and debts start to rise. The wine in the vineyards goes bad. Resentment spreads through the land. In the souls of the people, the grapes of wrath are filling, and growing heavy from the vintage.
Chapter 26. Peach Pickers. After nearly a month in the government camp, the Jodes find their supplies running low, and work to be scarce. Ma says they must leave. And the next day they say goodbye, and the family is off to find work. While they are drive, one of the tires get flat, and the men try to fix it. A man pulls up in a suit and tie and tells them about some work, and peach pickers are 45 miles away. They say their thanks and are on their way, until they see a riot, but police are there, and the Jodes keep moving. The family is learning it's 5 cents a box, but still they take the job. Later that night, Tom is curious and goes to see what the riot was about. What he finds is old Jim Casey, spreading his word, but soon they are found by a few cops, and fight breaks out. Casey is killed, and in his rage, Tom kills the man. He begins to run and hides in an embankment. He goes to tell Ma the news and is forced to hide. Tom thinks he must leave, but Ma begs him to stay. So the day he hides in a culvert until they leave. Chapter 27. Cotton Pickers. Signs appear everywhere, saying that there is work to be found. Among the cotton fields, wages are decent, but workers buy their own bags. Many people come to pick the cotton, and the owners are crooked. They rig the scales so that people have to pick more. But some are sneaky and put rocks in their bags, and the people still do the work, just to get some money.
Chapter 28. Goodbye, Tom Joad. At the cotton fields the Jodes arrive, and are given a boxcar to live in. But they must share it with another family. That night they make enough money to buy food and clothing, and Ma is even able to treat Ruthie and Winfield to a box of Cracker Jacks. Another girl becomes envious and picks a fight, while Ruthie boasts angrily that her brother killed 2 men. Ma runs to Tom and tells him what happened. He knows he cannot stay, and we say goodbye to young Tom Joad. That night the 2 families sit in silence while the rain starts pouring outside.
Chapter 29. Fear turns to raid. Rain lashes the land with no work can be done. Rivers overflow and cars wash away. The men are forced to beg and steal food. The women watch the men in apprehension, worried that they might finally see them break. Instead, they see the men's fear turn to anger. Women know that their men will remain strong, as long as they can maintain their rage. Chapter 30. New Life. The rain continues to fall on the 3rd day. The skies still show no sign of clearing, but the worst has yet to come. Rose of Sharon is sick and goes into labor. The truck has flooded and the family has to remain. Pa begins to urge men to build a dam, to keep the water from flooding, washing them away. But worse is still to come, for an uprooted tree destroys the dam, and when Pa returns he is told the baby was stillborn. As the days go by, the family decides to leave and find a place to stay. They find a barn where they will see a small boy and his dying father. But as the story ends, the man is being saved by Rose of Sharon and her leftover breast milk.
A quote by Tyler Shepard. For every struggle, there are a dozen people willing to help. For every evil, there are a dozen cases of good. For every inhumanity, people come together to help. We are all a part of something much bigger than ourselves, united in love.